Welcome to Super Showdowns, the ultimate destination for epic battles and legendary showdowns. Join us as we put iconic superheroes, villains, and mythological figures against each other in thrilling matches of strength, strategy, and skill. Across the fractured plains of a ruined realm, where no stars shine and the skies bleed with eternal dusk, a new rift split through reality. A place where gods dare not tread. This was no ordinary dimension. It was a void of vengeance, an ancient battlefield long sealed by Odin himself, until today. From the tear in space emerged Mangog, a hulking beast formed from the hatred of a billion beings exterminated by the gods of Asgard. His eyes burned like suns caught in a storm, and each thunderous step he took left the ground howling. He had escaped his latest imprisonment, not by force, but by the collapse of the old divine magics that once contained him. With Odin gone and Asgard in decline, the seals were weak. He rose from his prison of pure rage, fueled by only one thing. The gods must pay. All gods, all creation built on the bones of the innocent, must burn. But this time, Mangog was not. Headed for Asgard. Across the dimensional veil, another cosmic experiment had reached a terrifying stage of evolution. Deep within a Kryptonian vault, one thought abandoned. Since the fall of Krypton, scientists on New Genesis had been studying the remnants of an ancient beast recovered from Earth, Doomsday. At first, they thought they could control it, study its regenerative properties, unlock its invincibility, but Doomsday is no subject. He is death incarnate, designed through millions of forced evolutions to survive the impossible, and now he had evolved beyond containment. With a howl that cracked the vault wide open, Doomsday exploded from the lab like a plague of destruction. Every beam fired at him became obsolete the moment it made contact. Every weapon turned to dust. He remembered pain, and he hated it. He remembered Superman, the only foe who had once brought him to his knees. But more than that, he remembered gods, beings who thought they were immortal, beings who screamed just the same as mortals when crushed, drawn by instinct, drawn by wrath. And somewhere, the multiverse itself responded. As if orchestrated by the universe's own fury, both titans arrived in the same realm, a shattered cross-dimensional nexus known as the Bridge of Hateful Skies, where leftover magic from dead gods lingered like storm clouds, and physics bent to the will of whoever raged harder. Lightning of chaos split the heavens as Doomsday emerged from a collapsing wormhole, smashing into a mountain and reducing it to gravel with his landing. He snarled, sniffing the air. He wasn't just hunting. He was sensing something familiar, a kind of rage that mirrored his own. From the horizon, the mountains themselves split as Mangog marched forward, dragging behind him a chain made of god bones. He raised his head, sniffed and paused. "I smell mockery. You are no god, but you reek of their arrogance." Doomsday responded with a bellow so deep it caused the very realm to shudder. No words, no thought, just instinct.
Hey you, don't just watch. Subscribe please.
The two behemoths locked eyes across the scorched battlefield. Mangog raised his fist, wrapped in the souls of the damned, and pointed at Doomsday. "You are but another idol of power, another false immortal to crush beneath the truth of hate." And Doomsday charged. The ground didn't crack. It detonated beneath their first collision. Mangog met Doomsday's charge with a fist like a battering ram of the cosmos. The impact launched shockwaves across universes. Entire minor realms folded inward from the force. On Earth, sensitive telepaths collapsed from the psychic noise of their fury. Even Asgard's shattered ruins trembled, but neither fell. Doomsday caught Mangog's punch, twisted and slammed him into the dirt, turning solid terrain into molten magma. But Mangog roared back with hatred made manifest, breaking free and hurling Doomsday through a continent of bone and ice. They fought like cosmic warheads, Doomsday leapt into the sky and came down like a meteor, punching Mangog through a black mountain. Mangog retaliated by summoning the agony of the billions within him, focusing their hate into a blast that knocked Doomsday through the edge of space. But Doomsday didn't bleed. He didn't scream. He laughed in his own way, not joy, but relish. This was war, this was evolution, and this was worthy. Mangog staggered for a moment, not from pain but from surprise. You do not fear, you do not beg, you do not falter. Doomsday's eyes glowed. A new mutation, born of magic absorbed from the realm, glimmered along his skin like obsidian armor laced with god metal. Mangog raised his chain, now glowing with divine fire, and wrapped it around Doomsday's neck. He swung him like a wrecking ball through time-lost temples. Doomsday clawed at the chain, eyes glowing brighter. With a shattering roar, he ripped the chain apart, absorbing the divine essence it was forged from. Adaptation. He grabbed Mangog by the jaw and bit down, not to feed, but to break. Mangog screamed in unholy rage, not used to pain, not used to anyone daring such a move. The battle escalated from brutal to biblical. Doomsday evolved with every blow, every god punch. Mangog landed fed his body's new chemistry. He was learning, adapting, growing. Mangog, for the first time in eons, felt something stir beneath his rage. Not fear, not yet, but respect for a foe who wouldn't die, who couldn't be broken, who matched him blow for blow, and was getting stronger. The sky cracked, the realm screamed, and both monsters stood, bloodied, panting, neither backing down. "You are not a god," Mangog growled. "Neither are you," Doomsday's thoughts seemed to echo in the silence that followed. Then they charged again, and the world prepared to end. They clashed again, and this time the realm itself began to die. Time bent, stars flickered and vanished. The bridge of hateful skies groaned under the weight of their fury, its foundations built on divine bones and ancient sorceries now cracking like cheap glass. Every punch was a quake, every roar summoned storms from other planes. Doomsday now, glowing with a sickly aura of divine corruption, hurled himself at Mangog like a living cataclysm. The raw magic that once chained him had become part of his new form, absorbed, adapted, reconfigured into biological armor that pulsed with anti-divinity. Mangog met him with all the hatred of a billion souls, his own form now oozing. Molten light as he began to unleash his final trump card, the cosmic hatred pulse, a scream of raw anguish capable of annihilating even gods from existence. "I am the wrath of the forgotten!" Mangog bellowed, his voice tearing open rifts in the sky. He raised both arms and slammed them into the ground. From the point of impact, a shockwave of pure hate radiated outward, disintegrating everything. Rocks, magic, echoes of time, even the essence of light. It hit Doomsday head-on, erasing layers of his body as if peeling back creation itself. Doomsday stumbled, falling to one knee. For the first time, his regeneration slowed. His flesh boiled, bone evaporated. For a split second, it looked like Mangog had found the edge he needed. The cosmos itself held its breath, but beneath the destruction, Doomsday smiled. His cells were rebuilding in real time, not just regenerating, mutating, evolving. He had never faced this kind of power before, and now he was adapting to cosmic hatred itself. He roared, a sound like a million meteors screaming across the void, and his body surged with new energy. Veins of dark crimson light crawled across his arms, his spikes elongated, now coated in celestial metal. A new tail-like appendage cracked out of his spine, armed with barbs that glowed with the absorbed power of Mangog's chain. He was no longer just Doomsday. He was the evolutionary apex of all. Rage-fueled gods and monsters, Mangog stepped back snarling. "What?" Are you becoming? Doomsday charged, his footsteps collapsing dimensions behind him. The next clash was beyond physical. It was conceptual. Each strike warped the realm into abstract forms. One moment they were fighting in a city of mirrors made from Asgardian memories. The next, on a field of stars forged by the screams of the dead. Doomsday ducked under a blow that could level Yggdrasil itself and drove his spiked fist through Mangog's stomach. But Mangog didn't fall. He wrapped his arms around Doomsday, lifted him, and snapped his spine over a jagged obelisk of fallen gods. Doomsday roared and snapped it back in place mid-battle. He clawed at Mangog's face, tearing off part of the beast's horned skull. Mangog retaliated by biting deep into Doomsday's arm, severing it. But even before it hit the ground, a new limb had already begun to grow. The battlefield trembled as both monsters drew upon their final reserves. Hatred versus evolution, immortality versus adaptation. Mangog raised his fists and channeled the hatred of the forgotten billions into a final planet-killing strike. Doomsday took it full force. His chest shattered, his insides combusted, his lower body vaporized into dust, but he did not die because he had evolved beyond death itself. With a soundless snarl, Doomsday reformed in real time, now pulsing with white-hot energy from the very hate that had tried to destroy him. He had become immune to Mangog's power. It was no longer a weapon, it was fuel. Impossible, Mangog growled. You are nothing. You are not even alive. Doomsday leapt, buried his clawed hand into Mangog's chest and ripped out the core. The writhing spiritual heart of hatred itself. He didn't just tear it free, he consumed it, absorbing the essence and trapping the souls inside his own mutating form. Mangog shrieked, his body convulsing, shrinking. No, I am vengeance. I am... But the words faded as Doomsday's fist punched through Mangog's face, shattering it like stone. With one final roar, Doomsday crushed Mangog's collapsing form into the ground, creating a crater so deep it reached the skeletal remains of dead universes. And then... silence. Ash fell like snow. The realm began to collapse around the victor, the magic holding it together now gone. But Doomsday simply turned, walking into the void, his body still adapting, still evolving. He had faced the embodiment of divine hatred, and not only survived, he had become greater than it. Somewhere the gods felt a chill, because something worse than Mangog now stalked the multiverse, and it had no soul, no limit, no mercy.